This is a true love story. A story of the love between two people and the love between a family and its church. From its founding, the Worrell family has been a part of Sunbeam Baptist Church. At age 22, Wallace Worrell was in attendance on Dedication Sunday 1908. His youngest of 5 children, Marvin, has spent a lifetime serving the church and its surrounding communities.
I don't remember, but my mother told me the first place I ever went, I think, was Sunbeam Baptist Church, and I was probably 3 weeks old when I went there. And there's 5 of us children, and my next oldest brother, he joined the Methodist Church, and so we always teased him and told him that he was afraid to be baptized. So he was sprinkled and joined the Methodist Church. That was Morris. But all the rest of us were Baptists, and my mother was Methodist. She never would change her membership. My daddy was Baptist. He never would change his. But yet they went to each other's church. And during this time, church was not only a place to worship, it was a place for social life. And during the Depression, I was told that it meant a lot to people, particularly this particular time, because they didn't have things like they wanted or needed, but yet they decided that they were still going to church. If they had to wear patch clothes, it didn't make any difference. They would still go to church, and they made the best of whatever was available to them. Later on, when things got a little bit better, I know the churches would always have hay rides to like Ocean View. They put hay in the back of a big truck, you know, and railings on it, and you pack a picnic lunch and you'd go and stay all day and come back in the night. And that was some of the highlights, you know, of being able to attend 2 churches. So I attended New Hope as well as Sunbeam, and so we get to take advantage of each one of the hay rides that they have, you know.
While in their youth, Marvin and his sister Nancy attended both churches, but they became members of Sunbeam and quickly assumed active leadership roles. They organized an effort to raise funds for building an annex of 5 Sunday school rooms just in time for Sunbeam's 50th anniversary. Marvin, who has served as the church treasurer, deacon, organist, choir director, Sunday school superintendent, and trustee, brought in another servant to the congregation with his wife, Sarah. Together, they raised their own family at Sunbeam, and Sarah took on an active role with the youth. Outside the church, Sarah worked for more than 30 years in the local community as a registered nurse. Marvin played an active role in the Como community, leading civic causes through the Ruetan Club, the Volunteer Rescue Squad, and serving over 30 years as Como's postmaster. In 1990, Sarah was the first woman to be ordained as a deacon in the church's 84-year history.
On behalf of Sunbeam Baptist Church, I would like to present to you this certificate of ordination to Sarah Elizabeth Worrell, having been chosen one of good report, full of the spirit and of wisdom, and capable of using the office well, was set apart public to the office and work of deacon by Sunbeam Baptist Church at Franklin, Virginia, on the 7th day of October, 1990.
There's likely not a young person that has come through Sunbeam's doors over the past 50 years who hasn't either been delighted or inspired through her Sunday school lessons, Bible games, surprise gifts, and her sweet music.
I always loved music, but never had the opportunity to take music. And what little bit I learned about music was Miss Rosalie Holloman. She was a Liberman married to Holloman. She taught public school music, and she would go around to the different rooms, and once a week, and you'd have about a 15-minute session with her, and she'd want you to keep a notebook and learn the notes. So it was through her that I kept this notebook, and I learned how to read the notes with the right hand. I never did it with the left hand, but I can play hymns with the right hand and use chords with the left. So that's the way I improvised. That was the what music training I had.
One of Marvin's dreams was for Sunbeam to have a larger space for its members to gather for fellowship. It should also have the flexibility to support the educational needs for membership growth. The same vision he and his sister Nancy shared nearly 50 years earlier. The church's 100th anniversary was approaching, and Marvin was making plans for Sunbeam's celebration of the century. In 2004, the dream became reality.
On behalf of Sunbeam Baptist Church, our members, former members, pastors, former pastors, family and friends of the ones that have gone on before us, and with love, we dedicate our educational building to you with love and affection. It's dedicated.
Sunbeam's new fellowship building was dedicated debt-free, and a significant portion of the funding was provided by Nancy Mowry's family. In failing health, she was unable to attend, but her children and family honored her memory in a special dedication on Anniversary Sunday 2006.
And I went throughout the world, and every time you went someplace, they asked you where you were from. And I said I was from Como, North Carolina, and I went to church on Sunday.
Together, Marvin and Sarah have given of their talent to support their friends and neighbors. And as surrounding churches were forced to close their doors, the small but faithful Sunbeam congregation persevered. And with that, Marvin picked up another cause in his promise to preserve the legacy of his mother's church and the spirit of little country churches everywhere.
Sometimes a person takes a responsibility so seriously it turns into something very unexpected. That's a situation Channel 3's Bob West found out about and shares in tonight's Points West.
The village post office at Como, North Carolina. Marvin Worrell has been postmaster at a one-man chamber of commerce for 29 years. But we're not here for the post office. We go to Marvin's family farm home to see something he created. It's a bell ringer. To keep a promise to save artifacts from an abandoned church, Marvin has turned an old smokehouse into a tiny chapel, only 10 by 12 feet, with pews he had to cut down.
I only hold 2 people each and 4 pews, so we only have capacity for 8 people.
A scrapbook shows New Hope Methodist Church, which was torn down, and Marvin was given the furnishings for safekeeping. Instead of storage, he built a miniature chapel with a choir loft big enough for a piano and big music. Although more of a one-man museum than a place of worship, this chapel has almost everything.
With no air conditioning in August when we had revival meetings, it seemed like the hottest part of the year, so a fan was a necessity item in order to keep yourself halfway comfortable.
From the 1938 hymn book, this refrain: "There's a church in the valley by the wildwood, no lovelier spot in the dale. No place is so dear to my childhood as the little old church in the vale."
Makes a nice little chapel to just to come and be quiet.
One man and an 8-person church. How Marvin Worrell kept a promise.
This culminated last fall when the Southampton County Historical Society's Cultural Museum dedicated the Little Country Church as a permanent home to the relics Marvin had maintained and preserved.
Sing my song in the old country church.
As they have always put the needs of others before their own, Marvin and Sarah's story remains one of true love, a love that is true to God, the church, and to each other.
How I'm all